Busby.
Spell your last name for me.
Buzbee.
Okay, so tell me what you were notified. What Monday? State of some West Nile cases here in Montgomery County.
Correct.
Tell me what they told you.
Okay, I was notified by the state epidemiology department out of Austin that we had a fatality here in Montgomery County. This was in South Montgomery County. I deduced that because all of our cases of West Nile neuroinvasive have been in southern Montgomery County. The fatality was from a individual that had been reported earlier. So evidently the person that was stricken, the disease progressed and passed away.
Okay, how many cases have you reported in Montgomery County this year already?
3 neuroinvasive, and this individual was one of the 3.
Describe the neuroinvasive or the other West.
Okay, neuroinvasive, just like what the name implies, it affects the neural system, the central nervous system, and their encephalitis type symptoms. The individuals that have this, it's more severe. You may have stupor, fever, neurological manifestations, dizziness, those type of things, and it's usually much more severe that requires hospitalization.
If someone thinks they have, is there anything that it mimics, any type of disease it mimics?
Encephalitis, the meningitis type diseases, and you need to seek medical attention as soon as possible.
Now, the state, they're just telling you, you just pretty much do South Montgomery County. We have no idea where in the South, who
Yeah,
it was,
that's all. I don't know the age. I know the range. The state gives me limited information due to the HIPAA requirements. I know essentially that a person or individual, and usually the way it goes, the time frame is I receive notification after they've been hospitalized, and by the time they go through the laboratory routines, there may be 2 or 3 weeks. So quite often we receive the information, and those people have the individual, they've been discharged from their respective hospitals.
Okay, so basically this doesn't always end in fatality. It's
No,
rare cases? Or?
Very rare. The neuroinvasive is more severe, and I think we've had around 17, 18 cases this year so far throughout the state.
Throughout the state? Okay.
Yes.
They're telling you, as big as Montgomery County is, hey, we've got 3 cases of West Nile.
Right.
And you've got limited budget between you and the commissioners out here. How do you determine which areas to really start spraying heavy or anything else? They're almost telling you, hey, you got to go spray the whole county because we're not telling you where it's at.
Right. Well, they say South County, so I assume it's in the Woodlands, Shenandoah, Oak Ridge area. And the reason they usually clusters there because of the population density. When you've got 80, 100,000 people down in that area, odds are you're going to contract diseases. It's already prevalent in the birds and in the mosquitoes. So it's just a matter of time before it shows up. Originally, the first part of the year, I was told by zoonosis control for the state that they didn't expect a real heavy year as far as cases because of the immunity. It was already present in the birds, present in the mosquitoes, and the human population, there should be some immunity. But it didn't work out that way.
You think as it progresses, someone gets more and more immune to this?
Yes, as I've been told by zoonosis, they expected a light year originally, but this hasn't been the case because several years ago they did not report or didn't distinguish between the regular West Nile fever and the neuroinvasive, the more severe type.
What about the West Nile fever? How many cases?
We haven't had any reported to my office this year. There's been quite a few throughout the state, but I think this year the West Nile neuroinvasive is more prevalent throughout the state.
Okay, and bird testing, anything there?
Oh, it's showing up in the birds for sure. It's present in the birds. It's almost, see, with this mild climate we have down here, it's almost endemic in the bird population. The county does, we will collect the birds and do a presumptive test throughout the county. Now, but if it's already proven to be in a certain area, then there's no use. We know it's there, so we don't go ahead and test there. But the Woodlands area, they do a lot of trapping and testing there all over through the Woodlands, and they also spray adulticide and larvicide in the Woodlands area.
Okay, now people, it's prevalent quite a bit in mosquito population and everything else. You're looking at standing water, things like that. Is you have more of that, more than, it seems like you have more of that, more East County and everything else in Woodlands. Why isn't it prevalent more over that way? Is it just the population density or what?
That's the really the most correct explanation I can give for it. Even though you have a lower lying swampy area, you've got the Woodlands has the foliage canopy down there. A lot of pools. It's not to say it's coming from the pools, but a lot of hot tubs. Pools notoriously are not kept up. Some are, some aren't. People install a pool and they don't keep it up. And if you're going to find mosquito larvae, they're usually in the skimmers, rather than in the pools. Most likely are too deep. Mosquitoes got to go down and come back up to get air. The larvae do, and most pools are too deep. They're going to be found in the skimmers or, say, in the steps area there. Most of the pools are just too deep.
So what now that y'all been notified, what's the next step now?
We just have to get, they've been trapping, we've been spraying. The most important thing is for the public to know there is a deadly disease out there, and it strikes the very young and the elderly. And they need to take the precautions on clothing, mosquito repellent, remove the water, standing water from their homes.
Is this where it's most prevalent too, is the elderly and the children, where it's really, as far as the disease actually taking hold with immunity? So
Right. Well, usually your younger folks, the immunity's on the uprise, and the older folks, the immunity's on the wane. So you're gonna usually that's the way it goes. Like most diseases.
What about animals? Dogs, cats?
No.
Mosquito prone for bites? Nothing there?
Yeah, no. There haven't had any cases of the horses this year reported to me. That was a problem, but they have a vaccine for that. The only problem with that, you have to give that ever so often. I think twice a year, and it's very fatal, very much so in the horses.
Your office been hit with calls once it hit out on this, or
Oh yes,
where it is, and what it is?
Right, and with the limited knowledge I receive, it's we say South County, and that's usually where the population is, and that's most dense population, and we figure that that's one of the reasons why is because of the population down there and the foliage. It's beautiful down there, but when you have a lot of trees, hollowed out parts in the trees, the bird bass people are there. They always usually have animals in the back. They'll let those dog dishes sit in there, and they'll retain the water. First thing you know, you have larvae. Bird bass, the gutter situation too, the same thing.
Gutters also just basically leaves or water.
Right. Anything that holds water there, you're gonna have a problem. With the limited flight of the mosquito, they don't travel that far. They're going to be localized, and the problem time. Just remember, dusk to dawn.
Right. Okay. All right. So basically, what about now? You think it's going to be South County? Commissioner Chance ever really step up his spraying?
Oh, he has. He's purchased his trucks down there. They spray all the time. You got an environmental part at the Woodlands that's trapping. They're issuing mosquito insecticides. Those dunks that they put in the water and pools and abandoned pools and stuff like this. The Woodlands is very much up on on top of the situation. It's just unfortunate that it's prevalent in that area also.
What about Spring Creek area? I mean, the water flows along Spring Creek. It's just been the
Yeah.
flowing water not bad.
No, it's not as bad. Plus, you have your minnows. Those mosquito minnows, regular old ditch minnows. Those are the best. They will, they'll eat those larvae.
All right.
Well, I hope it turns out okay and you can use some of it.